in the worst situations, who survived the sword, found grace in the wilderness. When Israel sought for rest, the Lord appeared to him from far away. I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, I have continued my faithfulness to you. Don't you understand that God's love for you will never quit? I don't know what happened to you there. I was by myself today and got to that verse and shouted myself. It said, even when I was far away and you were far away from me, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, I have continued my faithfulness to you. You know what this is saying? No matter how far away from me you get, no matter how low you get, you'll never stop my love for you, because it was grace that brought me safe this far, because he has had endless love for his people. Don't you know you're one of his? Jeremiah said he loved me when I was far away from him. 2 Corinthians 12, verse 8 and 9. Look there with me. Write it down if you can't keep up with me. Write it down, because God's given me a lot of scripture. 2 Corinthians 12 and 8 and 9. Paul said he sought God 3 times to remove a thorn that was in his flesh. But he said because it wasn't moved, he said he heard the voice of God say that it might be there and it might be painful, but my grace is sufficient. Come on, somebody. Do you hear what I'm saying? You may not get healed of what you're going through right now, but God's grace is sufficient. God hadn't forgot about you. God hadn't forgot that you had a financial need. God hadn't forgot about you going through loneliness and depression. God hadn't forgot. He knows exactly where you're at. God's not forgot you. He said, even when you're going through it, my grace is sufficient. Somebody give the Lord a shout. Look around somebody and say, God's grace is sufficient. Let me just sum that up a little bit for you. Look around somebody and say, God's grace is all you need. Come on, God's grace is all you need. I'm giving somebody a chance to shout. Let me tell you something. I don't need a better job, but I need grace. My body may never get healed, but I need his grace. Oh, come on, somebody. My marriage situation may not always be what I wanted, but I still need his grace. I tell you, I'm going to preach this thing and bring you out of where you're at. Even in my darkest hours, grace is all I need. Do you hear what I'm saying? I don't need $1 million mansion on a hill, but I need his grace. I don't need a large checking account, but I need his grace. Do you hear what I'm saying? I don't need, oh, come on, I may never have a relationship, but I need his grace. I need a relationship with him. Oh, come on. Everybody saying, I need this and I need that. This world is not my home. I'm just a passing through. Honey, this is just a getting ready place. I don't need everything this world has to offer, but I sure do need his grace. Somebody praise him. I need his grace. He said his grace is sufficient. And watch this. He said, for my power. This is Paul talking here. He said, but my power is made perfect in weakness. When I am weak, then he is strong. You'll find out at your weakest places is where you'll find where grace shows up. When life says you're condemned, grace steps in and says, get out the way. When the world looks at you and says, you ain't good for nothing, you'll never amount to anything, grace steps in and says, get out the way, get out the way. You're somebody, you're somebody special. You may feel weak right now, but in my weakness, I am made strong. Come on, somebody. You always want to be on the mountain rejoicing, but you ain't never going to know what grace really is until you know He's the lily of the valley. He's the rose of Sharon. He's the honey in the rock. He's a pearl of great price to those that walk in the lonesome night. He's the bright and the morning star. Come on, somebody. You ought to know who He is and what your DNA comes from. It comes from afar. My Lord, have mercy. Paul said, therefore will I boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me.